Welcome to the San Diego City Employees Retirement Systems 2024 Annual Membership Meeting. I'm Natasha Kalura, the new Member Services Director at SDCERS. Cynthia Queen, who is the previous Member Services Director, retired earlier this year after working hard to serve all of our members so well over the years. I look forward to continuing her high standards of service to all of you, and we wish her well in retirement. I also want to recognize some VIPs in the audience. You are all VIPs, but in particular, I want to acknowledge these folks. The president of the SDCERS board, Lisa Marie Harris, trustee Chris Brewster, and representative to REA, Retired Employee Association, Joe Flynn. Joe, where are you? Got to give him a big round of applause. Former SDCERS board member. Joan Hernandez, REA board member. And Ron Moskowitz, a retired Fire and Police Association board member, right in the back. Thank you all for being here. Before we get started, I wanted to take a moment of silence to recognize the ultimate sacrifice of Officer Austin Machitar on August 27th during a police car chase. We also wish a speedy recovery to Officer Zachary Martinez, who was injured during the incident, and to the 3 firefighters who were injured recently while helping with the hurricane relief efforts. We truly appreciate all of our members who serve the public, especially our public safety personnel who often put themselves in harm's way to protect us. So thank you all for your service. SDCERS is the defined benefit retirement system for the City of San Diego, the Unified Port District, and the San Diego County Regional Airport Authority. Each year, SDCERS holds an annual meeting to provide an overview of the excellent governance and security of your retirement system. The theme of this year's meeting is "You take care of us, and we take care of you." Many of you know that SDCERS was formed by a few employees almost 100 years ago. The reason your retirement system will last longer than our lifetimes is because of very careful long-term planning and making sound decisions along the way. We take your trust in us very seriously, and that is exemplified in what you will be hearing from our speakers. Today, you'll be hearing from our Board of Administration President, Lisa Marie Harris, Chief Investment Officer, Karina Coleman, and Senior Investment Officer, Anders Norman, our Chief Executive Officer, Greg Rodemaker, our Benefit Administration Director, Sandra Clausen, and me. Please hold any questions until the end. We will be available after the program to talk with you. This event is being recorded and will be available on the SDCERS website once production is complete. And I also want to do a quick shout out to our communication manager, Jessica Taylor, for her hard work in coordinating all the logistics for today. Our IT support, Alfredo Nieto, and I think Sal for our video. So thank you guys, appreciate it. Before I turn it over to the SDCERS board president, I wanted to let you know that I will be asking questions throughout the presentation. Some will relate to retirement and some to celebrate Halloween. If you participate and raise your hand, you will get candy. I know. So shout out your answer, but keep your hand raised so our gracious team members, Melanie Peter, Colin Brazel, and Johnny Tran will see you and they will take care of you. Before we get started, first question. Why did the ghost starch his sheet? Anyone? No? He wanted to scare people stiff. You get extra candy if you laugh, just so you know. All right, now I would like to ask Lisa Marie Harris to join us at the podium. I want to introduce Lisa Marie. She is a 28-year veteran in the field of public finance and was recently honored by the Women in Public Finance at their 28th annual conference, Making Waves in San Diego. Lisa Marie was also presented with the State of California's Certificate of Recognition from the California Secretary of State, Shirley Weber. We are so lucky to have her on our board and serving as our current president. So, Lisa Marie.
Good morning, and thank you, Natasha, for that lovely introduction. But again, good morning, everybody. Good morning. So I'm Lisa Marie Harris, and I'm your board president, and I'm serving in my first year in the capacity of board president, but I've served on the board almost now close to 3.5 years, and it's been a great experience to serve the community of San Diego. I'm originally from the Bay Area, but I've been in San Diego now 20 years, and I've raised 2 great children who are now adults, and they're grown and moved out and off my payroll. So I'm very happy about that. But I'm still working full-time. I'm the CFO of the San Diego County Water Authority, so when you think about water, you can also think about me. But today it's actually my day off, so I won't be able to stay much longer. So if you have any questions for me, please feel free to ask me before I leave. But just to give some opening remarks, on behalf of the board, I'd really like to thank you for coming out today and coming out every meeting that we have annually. And as the board president, I rarely get to see you all, so I look forward to seeing you throughout this morning. And I did get to introduce myself to some of you, and it was lovely to meet the ones that I did meet. I know there's a few folks that are retired. How many of you guys are retired? Raise your hand. And the folks that are still working? Well, I'm still with you, but I have 4 more years. So the theme of today's meeting is You Take Care of San Diego and We Take Care of You, which for me and folks, feelings of community and dedicated helping one another. So again, thank you for those that are retired and for your service, and thank you for those that are still working for your current service. And today we have SDCERS' most helpful team members that you've heard as an introduction to share news about how SDCERS runs and how we're dedicated to ensure that your retirement is protected and your trust in SDCERS is well placed. But first, I want to recognize and celebrate a few SDCERS staff members who retired and changed careers since your last annual meeting. And that included Vincent Akels, Edita Raphael in the Finance Division, Claudia George and Cynthia Green in the Member Services Division, and Melba Altor, Ravin Pacino, Marcel Boris Rosman, I may not be saying the names correctly, but in the Benefits and Administration Division. And we do sorely miss them, but we also are happy to have our new team members. And so we do celebrate their memories and the work they accomplished by helping you, our members. And as they took care of SDCERS, now we can take care of them. Now, before I turn it back over to Natasha, please let me say again how wonderful it is to see you all here today, and thank you for coming, and I hope you enjoy the presentations. But just in a few minutes, if there's anybody that has a question for me as board president before I take off, I'd be happy to answer any of your questions.
Could these questions be personal?
Sure, go ahead, ask me anything.
I don't know who to address it to. Maybe you could guide me.
Mm-hmm.
Retired from San Diego, 2014. Little did I know that I would be married for the first time in 2020. My lovely wife here, Joanne. I wanted to make her my beneficiary of my passing, and I was told because I retired as a single man, I cannot add her.
Well, why don't we hold that very detailed question to the end, and they can help you. I'm just here to answer questions in general. So are there any general questions? No, okay, well, I'll turn it back to Natasha. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Lisa Marie. Okay, here's another joke. Why don't zombies like pirates? Anyone? They're too salty. So I'm going to introduce the next 2 members of our team who are not salty at all. Now welcome SDCERS Chief Investment Officer Karina Coleman and Senior Investment Officer Anders Norman. Here we go.
Thank you, Natasha. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to set the stage a bit before I turn it over to my colleague, Anders Norman. He'll walk through fiscal year 2024 with you in greater detail. But I'm going to talk to you today about some major trends that are taking place in the market and how COVID, that word, really shaped and influenced these trends. So COVID was a watershed moment in history that transformed our lives. It accelerated certain trends that were underway, and it introduced others. And the intersection of those trends has created risks and opportunities that continue to impact the capital markets, and likely for years to come, and really underscores the need for prudent investment processes and policies to help us navigate these rapidly changing conditions. You'll see a lot of D's on this page. A lot of these trends actually begin with the letter D, so we'll keep it simple. The first of these trends I will highlight is D, globalization. Supply chain disruptions caused during COVID shutdowns led to a rerouting of trade lines with a focus on bringing production closer to home via onshoring, nearshoring, and friendshoring. Digitalization. COVID intensified the digitalization of the economy by speeding the adoption of digital technologies, particularly in customer and supply chain interactions. Decarbonization. COVID supply chain disruptions brought renewed focus on energy security and the importance of transitioning to a clean energy. Which brings us to the next D, demographic aging. We have an older population, which means there's fewer workers per retiree. And this shortage of labor was really accentuated with the Great Resignation during COVID, when a lot of folks decided to retire. We also have an environment of higher debt, higher interest rates, and inflation. So the fiscal stimulus that was used to combat the effects of COVID really spurred inflation to levels that we haven't seen in 40 years and resulted in much higher debt to GDP levels. We've also seen differentiation, and that's underscored the importance of selectivity in our investments as winners separate from losers, and we are experiencing more frequent bouts of volatility. We've also seen in this environment desynchronization. Post-COVID, we are seeing a desynchronization of monetary cycles globally compared to the pre-COVID world of more artificially low interest rates. And all of this sums up to the final D, diversification. This higher volatility environment underscores the need to diversify our sources of risk to navigate these ever-changing tides. I'm going to talk about each of these at a high level. So when we look at deglobalization, from the post-World War II era, really through the onset of COVID, globalization increased at an ever-intensive clip. And this trend was recently reversed for the first time in many decades as a result of supply chain disruptions from COVID that led to a rerouting of trade lines. And there's been a preference to deal with more reliable trade partners, even at a higher price premium. And this has been somewhat inflationary. Digitalization. On the plus side, digitalization intensified during COVID with greater adoption of technologies in a remote work environment. This included improved broadband connectivity, the adoption of online business platforms, and the growth in online payment activities, which is a positive and productivity-enhancing outcome of COVID. Decarbonization. The shift to net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050 will require a move to clean energy sources over time. As you can see here, coal usage as an energy source has rapidly fallen while natural gas consumption has increased in the US. And as we transition, it is anticipated that the capital spending required to build out our infrastructure system to support the electrification of transport, as well as the immense computing power demanded by artificial intelligence, will also cause inflationary pressures in the medium term. And this dovetails with our trend of higher debt, higher rates, and inflation. Demographic aging. It's no secret. We have an aging society due to advances in medicine and lower birth rates. The U.S. has an average life expectancy now at birth of 80 years, and that's up from 50 years at the turn of the 20th century. And it's estimated that people aged 65 or older will grow as a percent of the population to more than double in 2050 what it was in 2011. And this shift to this older demographic has an implication for the country's long-term rate of unemployment, its long-term equilibrium interest rate, overall productivity, and the ability of the economy to finance debt. And so this aging demographic further compounds pressure on debt levels, interest rates, and inflation. So when we look at debt levels, you can see here that post-COVID, debt to GDP in the US really skyrocketed to 120%, compared to just 35 to 40% debt to GDP a few years ago. That's quite the increase. And we're not the only ones. You see this trend globally across developed countries. So inflation proved definitely not to be transitory. And as I mentioned, it hit 40-year highs. You can see that spike at the end of this graph. And spiked to 9% in 2022. And while rates have come down since and inflation has eased a bit, we expect that the Federal Reserve's long-term terminal rate in this current cutting cycle or easing cycle is expected to be about 3% or higher, significantly higher than 0% interest rates. Differentiation. So the countries didn't all start at the same point when COVID exploded. We can see that the impact on the countries is also varied, and this differentiation of impact from COVID is visible in countries' trends for GDP pre and post-COVID, as you can see here. So some countries were better off and some countries were worse off in terms of dealing with this crisis, and also the magnitude and timing of their fiscal response varied. And this leads us to desynchronization. As I said earlier, the intensification of trends underway pre-COVID and the introduction of new trends during COVID combined to create new risks and new opportunities. At the country level, as I mentioned, we see a decoupling of rate regimes and desynchronization of growth. At a style level, we see that value has very much outperformed growth in a higher rate environment. And at a stock level, we see that there's much more concentration. The US S&P 500 is now composed 35 to 40% of just 7 stocks. So it's a much more concentrated stock market, and that's on the promise of AI and what it can deliver. So as I mentioned, all of this adds up to the importance of diversification. Liquidity is key in a market wherein the risks to the upside and downsides are more balanced than before. We hope that the Fed has threaded the needle to ensure a soft landing scenario, but we need to be cognizant of having sufficient liquidity on hand in case of a market downturn. The opportunity set here is prime for active management to add value, to pick winners over losers in a dynamically changing world. And you can see there's great dispersion of returns, particularly in private asset classes, where who you choose to invest with matters a lot. Rest assured, SDCERS has a very well-diversified asset allocation, and we have robust policies and processes in place to help us navigate these changing market tides. With that, I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Anders Norman.
Good morning, everyone. As Karina mentioned, my name is Anders Norman, and I'm the Senior Investment Officer at SDCERS. Now that you've heard about all the interesting Ds going on around the world, I thought we could talk a little bit about the pension plan and how it performed over the last year. But maybe first talk a little about some of the forces that drove the performance over the last 12 months. So as you can see, the Federal Reserve held interest rates fairly steady over the entire year. There were plenty of speculation about when the Fed was going to start cutting rates. Some people actually said as early as March of this year, but that didn't happen. As you're probably aware, the Fed started cutting interest rates in September of this year. The reason they held tight was because inflation was over 3%, which is over the 2% target that the Federal Reserve sets, so they decided to take a more cautious approach to it. The second thing that defined the year was obviously inflation. I don't think it's any secret to anyone in this country that things have gotten a little bit more expensive over the past couple of years as a result of the inflation rate we've all experienced. Inflation actually started to slow a little bit early 2023 and hovered around the mid 3% most of the year. And it would be nice if it was just 3% across the board, but unfortunately, as you know, inflation is a basket of goods and services, so depending on what you bought, you probably felt a little bit more or a little bit less of that inflation. For example, if you bought a used car, prices were down 10% over the year, but if you had to insure that car insurance rates were up 19.5%. So depending on what you did there, those are some examples. Looking at the parts of the market where you want it to be, obviously stocks were the place to be for the year. That's also the area where SDCERS typically derives most of our return from. And the final piece here is private markets. Didn't do so well because of a higher interest rate environment, and when rates are high, typically private market assets don't do as well. Here. This is another iteration just showing you all the different areas of the public markets. So you can see the stock market for fiscal 2024 was the best performer, followed by commodities was actually a second place due to increases in copper and gold and that stuff. And the good news, if you look at the performance for the pension plan, is that we were able to generate a 7.2% return net of fees that exceeds the 6.5% return, which the actuaries use to model how much we're supposed to earn over the long term. But if we compare ourselves to the market benchmark, as you can see on the slide here, we fell short by 1.7%. And we'll get to that in a little bit, why that was. If you look a little bit more at the long-term numbers, you can see that we earned 6.7% net of fees over the last 10 years. And since 1988, we earned 8.6%, both of those above that 6.5% target return that we try to achieve. So why did we fall short by 1.7% of the market? And that comes back to the private market assets that we mentioned earlier, specifically private equity, where private equity suffered from devaluations due to higher interest rates. Because when interest rates go up, valuations of private equity typically go down and vice versa. So we're confident that with interest rates kind of set up for decreasing, that we'll see these assets recover here shortly. And this slide is a picture of the asset allocation that SDCERS uses where we kind of place all the assets between stocks, bonds, and private market assets. So as you may be able to see there in the dark blue lines, you can see that we have a little bit more stock exposure than we typically want. That helped us over the last year. And vice versa, if you look, you can see that the lone couple of dark blue bars going the other way is one of them is for private debt. That is a new asset class that we're starting to implement. So as we're building that out and finding interesting investments to put money into, that money will come out of the stocks that we have a little bit more of. With that, that concludes my remarks on the pension plan, and with that, I'll hand it back to Natasha.
All right. Thank you, Karina and Anders. Before I go on to our trivia, I wanted to acknowledge another REA board member, Estella Montoya. So thank you for being here today. Okay. Who wants candy? Okay. Our candy helpers are ready and waiting. And remember, just raise your hand and keep it raised. So the first question, what was SDCERS' final investment return for fiscal year 2024? Just shout out. Okay, raise your hand if you knew that. Get candy, okay, there you go. 7.2%. Okay, so this is a general question test. According to a 2024 survey, what is the actual average retirement age? Is it A, 57, B, 60, C, 62, or D, 65? C. All right, raise your hand if you got that. Keep it raised. Okay, 62 is the winner. All right, the last one. What is the name of the villain in The Nightmare Before Christmas? What was that? Okay, close. Boogie is the second part. What's that? Oogie Boogie. There you go. Okay, I say we give it to him because, so, and then you get 2 pieces. Okay, there you go. All right. Now, for our next speaker, not a villain, but one of the good guys, I'd like to welcome our esteemed Chief Executive Officer, Greg Rodemaker.
It is just great to see everybody today. So thank you so much for coming out in person. We greatly appreciate you. So thank you very much. Today, I will be talking about the business of trust. And please believe me when I say SDCERS is doing a good job taking care of the business. And it all starts with the top, with our 13-member Board of Administration. When we heard from Lisa Marie, our president today, I was so glad she could come out on her day off. And supporting the board, we've got 53 SDCERS staff members taking care of the business each and every day. Now, occasionally, somebody asks me, hey, Greg, what business are you in? And I have something that comes off the top of my head, something like, I'm a public pension plan administrator. I kind of like running a nonprofit insurance company. We insure the retirement security for the city, port, and airport employees. Kind of a technical answer. Then I was thinking the other day, it's like, actually, I am actually in the business of trust. And each one of you individually, and I think collectively, trust SDCERS to protect and grow the investment portfolio Karina and Anders just were talking about and highlighting. And we all know that money doesn't grow on trees. It takes hard work and dedication to invest successfully over the long term. Just like when you were working for your employer, taking care of the San Diego community. Hard work and dedication. Now, you trust SDCERS to invest your contributions and your employer's contributions in a careful and professional manner, so when it comes time for you to collect your retirement benefit, there's money in the bank. Your trusting SDCERS to safeguard that money is so important, it's part of our mission statement, to ensure the investments portfolio safety, integrity, and growth. And just as we trust the lifeguard in this picture to keep us safe at the seaside, you trust SDCERS to be a fiduciary in keeping your retirement benefits safe. Now, an important tool for SDCERS is our core values. And our core values are really our guiding principles that help us administer your retirement account. And they're listed on the slide. We have customer service, accountability, professionalism, fiduciary, integrity, and transparency. Now, fiduciary is highlighted for an important reason. Fiduciaries are very important people in your life. They could be your doctor, your dentist, your attorney if you need one. Hopefully you don't, but your attorney. And also your retirement benefits administration team, all the folks up here taking care of your retirement benefits. So what is a fiduciary? A fiduciary is a person who holds a legal or ethical relationship of trust. A fiduciary has a relationship of trust, and it can be one person or a group of persons, similar to everyone here in this room. At SDCERS, we believe our fiduciary relationship with you is built upon a bedrock of trust. Now, I remember my parents teaching me how to be a good kid. You know, what is character? Teaching me the value of trust. And they had many catchy phrases to teach us how precious trust really is. Trust is earned, not given. Trust is when actions meet words. And trust can take years to earn and seconds to lose. Now, you trust SDCERS to make sure we pay you the promised benefit. You rightfully expect your retirement benefit payment to be in your bank account on time and in full each and every month. This is our number one priority at SDCERS, to deliver the money as promised. You trust SDCERS to make good business decisions to ensure there's always enough money to pay your retirement benefits. So where does all that money come from? SDCERS has over $11 billion in the bank as a funding source for your retirement benefits. The majority of your retirement benefit is funded by the SDCERS investment portfolio. These are the earnings on the contributions that our members make into the plan and that the employer makes into the plan on the member's behalf. Over the past 10 years, SDCERS investment portfolio has provided the majority of funding for plan benefits, over $6 billion. You could kind of say that SDCERS is a profit center for the city, the port, and the airport. The SDCERS investment portfolio is in good shape to keep our retirement system in good health and to make sure that your monthly benefit payments are made on time and in full. Today, our retirement system's funding status is considered healthy, with a solid strategy to attain 100% funding over a reasonable period of time. On the screen is a speedometer dashboard showing how well the three plans are funded. Now, I've taken some liberty with the labels. They say low, good, and best, because there's no general definition of a well-funded pension plan. It falls in the category of I'll know it when I see it. So I'm glad some of you got that historical reference. In my 35 years in the pension business, my perspective is below 70%, not good. Between 70% and 90%, that's good, but it should be better. And above 90%, that's the best place you want to be. The greater the funding percentage, the more retirement security, more benefit security our members have. So we want to get 100% funding where we have enough and more than enough money to pay all the benefits that are due. Now, if we look at our speedometers, we see the city and the port are in the good zone, and the airport is in the best zone. But importantly, we have a good long-term funding strategy to make sure that each one of those plan sponsors reaches 100% into the future. Taking a closer look at the city's plan's funding ratio over time, the chart on the screen shows the funding ratio from 1994 on the left through 2023 on the right. The taller bars are better than the shorter bars. Starting on the left, things were looking really good in the 1990s. Living in the best zone. Look at all those nice tall green bars. The tallest one is the year 2000 at 97.3% at the height of the bull market stock run-up. Until the city's pension scandal and the dot-com market crash in the early 2000s. And now we're living in the not good zone. That's the first set of the three short red bars. Now the city pulls itself out of the pension scandal, implements pension reforms, and makes additional contributions to SDCERS in 2006. And we enjoy 3 good years in the good zone, those tall blue bars in the middle, until the global financial crisis. The plan falls back into the not good zone for 4 years, but slowly climbs back into the good zone over time. And when I see this chart, I'm like wondering, why am I stuck in the good zone? Why haven't we climbed up into the green zone? Now, you trust SDCERS to fund the plan, and SDCERS had to make some tough decisions during this time. First, recognizing our members are living longer. This is really good news for you and me. I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to living a lot longer. Looking at the chart, we see 4 generational groups. and their longevity. The first group, 1900, is in the black. People died younger, and it was unusual to live beyond 80 years of age. Now we fast forward 100 years to the green group, the 2000 green group, and we see younger people are living longer. Now it is common to live beyond age 80. The final 2020 purple group, we see a significant longevity improvements, with a lot more of us living to those older ages. This is a significant change in the past 20 years, and as a retirement system, we needed to plan for paying you for a lot longer into the future. The actuary calculated the change to our debt at about $1 billion. In other words, we should have been collecting more contributions from our members than employers all along, but at the time we didn't know about this increasing longevity. Now we've adjusted the contributions going forward, but it'll take time to balance the books. So that's the first reason the city's plan is in the good zone for so long, as we adjust to our members living longer. The second reason is lowering our expectations on how much money the investment portfolio will earn over the long term into the future. From 1985 to 2007, experts generally agreed large investors like SDCERS could easily earn 8% per year, year over year, over the long term. Following the onset of the global financial crisis in 2007, experts began to be less bullish and more bearish on being able to earn 8% over the long term into the future. As such, SDCERS began to lower its earnings expectations. This chart shows SDCERS lowering its earnings expectations from 8% in 2008 to 6.5% in 2018, where it remains today. We expect to earn less money in the future, then our financial health also decreases too. The actuary calculated we would earn $1 billion less because of this new outlook. In other words, we should have been collecting more contributions from the employer all along, but we did not know about the changing attitudes with regards to investment returns. Now, we've adjusted contributions going into the future, but it's going to take time to balance the books. Over the last 10 years, the SDCERS actual earnings, which have been 6.7, is in alignment with our long-term actuarial target. So that's the second reason the city's plan is in the good zone for so long as we adjust these lower earnings expectations. So why did SDCERS make these tough decisions? Easy way would have been just to ignore it. Some plans do that across the United States. But because we have a fiduciary relationship to our members to place their needs above any other stakeholder group, we made these tough decisions. You trust SDCERS to act in your best interest on your behalf, and we do. We have a special duty of loyalty and care to our members that is above and beyond any other duty to, so let's say, the employers or the public in general. Now, will the city and the port plans join the airport plan in the best funding zone? Yes, they will. And in the next 15 years, it's my belief that a future CEO will have the pleasure to stand before you and announce that your plan is 100% funded. And you will know it when you see it. The business of trust can be found in SDCERS' mission statement to deliver accurate and timely benefits and ensure the trust fund's safety, integrity, and growth. At the end of each month, you trust SDCERS will deliver the money as promised. And in closing, I hope you see how SDCERS works to earn your trust and keep your trust. Our community trusted you to take care of San Diego, and you can trust us to take care of your retirement benefits. Thank you.
All right, are candy people ready? Okay. What percentage of SDCERS pension benefits has been funded by investment earnings over the last decade? Is it A, 45%, B, 57%, C, 60%, or D, 65? Okay. All right, how many say A? No. How many say B? The winner. So keep your hand raised if you want candy. Okay. All right. What was the average monthly Social Security benefit for retired workers in July 2024. Okay, we have four choices. How many of you say A, 1,919? Okay, B, 2,020? C, 2,404? Or D, 2,557? Okay, how many of you said A? Raise your hand. Okay. Answer is A. This comes out to $23,000 a year. Okay, what is the average City of San Diego annual pension benefit as of June 30th, 2024? Okay, we have A, 42,642, B, 55,229, C, 71,587, or D, 84,230. How many of you say A? How many of you say B? Okay, keep your hand raised. Okay. All right, next up we have Sandra Clausen, our wonderful Director of Benefits Administration.
Good morning. Many of you may remember me as the Medical Review Officer at SDCERS. I have been managing the disability retirement benefit since 2003. Then in 2016, I accepted responsibility for the retiree health program and death benefit processing. Last December, I accepted the Benefits Administration Director position, and Greg really had to twist my arm. You can laugh at that because he came up with it, so we're all good. That's right. My primary goal in accepting this new role was to develop an open line of communication with the entire Benefits Administration team and really listen to their insight and perspective. We had staff members who had become subject matter experts, but we didn't have a solid plan to share that knowledge across the entire team. In order to facilitate some cross-training, we divided the team into two different sections. One section is for active member benefits, things like the employer transmittal, purchase of service contracts, and reciprocity requests. The second team handles retired benefits, things like benefit estimates, benefit calculations, and payee account setups, as well as the death benefit and marriage dissolutions on that team. Our goal is to have the entire Benefits Administration team able to perform the key processes and to move where the workload dictates. Being able to better utilize staff will help ensure the accurate and timely delivery of your monthly pension benefits. We're now holding weekly Benefits Administration team meetings to discuss division-wide projects and to support staff. We also have regular meetings with member services to discuss our projects that have shared responsibilities. These meetings have resulted in updates to policies and procedures affecting reciprocity, missed member contributions, purchase of service, and retirement estimate creation. Over the past 11 months, I've worked hard to earn the trust of my team, and the team continues to work hard to earn your trust in the work that we perform day in and day out. Now on to some fun projects that we've had over the past year. And this is where I get to brag a little bit about how great the Ben admin team is. Late last year, the Unified Port District let us know that they were intending to amend their plan to eliminate the required 5-year waiting period for membership in SDCERS. They first negotiated with the Teamsters Union and offered all active Teamsters in the 5-year waiting period the option to join SDCERS. The vast majority did choose to join. That was effective January 1st of 2024. Plan Amendment 8 also provided immediate SDCERS membership to all new hires who are beginning employment January 1st of 24. In total, this amendment immediately brought about 60 new members into SDCERS. Then over the summer, the port was able to secure approval from the state legislature and governor for an additional plan amendment that opened up membership for port employees other than the Teamsters. Plan Amendment 9 brought in about 100 more members into SDCERS and has made the Benefits Administration team experts at implementing new plans. So if you've been to any of the annual meetings over the past few years or listened to any of the board meetings, you are well aware of the massive project to fully unwind Proposition B and move employees back into the pension system, which had closed to new members in 2012, with the exception of sworn police officers who remained eligible for membership once they completed the academy and became sworn officers. The pension plan officially reopened in July 2021, and we are in the final stages of offering membership to employees with city service during the time the pension was closed. We still have a very small group of people who have Proposition B time that have kind of factual situations related to their employment dates that just don't fit within the guidance that we have in the municipal code, so we're handling those essentially one at a time. And of course, any former employee with Proposition B time that ever returns to city service in the future would be eligible to purchase their Proposition B time. So this plan reopening is definitely going to be on our radar for quite some time. Remember, we said that the pension plan had closed to new members except sworn officers, but the city, as a result of the plan closure, did decide to create a new tier for police safety members in 2013. This tier is very similar to the prior police tier. The differences included how the final average salary was calculated, the formula for benefit capping, and also the fact that police recruits were not eligible for membership until they became sworn officers. In an effort to complete the unwinding of Proposition B, the city decided to essentially eliminate that 2013 police safety tier and move all active sworn police officers back into the prior police tier. In September, we moved right around 1,000 active police safety members into their new plan tier, and we're currently in the process of launching a data update for those 1,000 members for every pay period that they worked in that 2013 plan. Once completed, our pension software system will reflect the old plan tier and contribution rate, as well as the new plan tier and that corresponding contribution rate. It's a tremendous effort, and it's wonderful that we have so many business analysts in benefits administration to figure that complicated stuff out. So in closing, please know that the entire benefits administration team is dedicated to more than just the delivery of accurate and timely benefits. We're committed to making SDCERS a top-tier public pension system through employee education and training, innovation, and an expectation that each SDCERS team member will bring their very best effort to work every day to ensure that our promises to you are met. So is there anything else you might want to know about benefits? Oh, how about the annual supplemental benefit? Each of SDCERS plan sponsors, the city, port, and airport, provide for an annual supplemental benefit payment for eligible retirees. The benefit is payable in years when the realized investment returns are sufficient to trigger payment. At the November meeting each year, SDCERS staff makes a recommendation to the retirement board on whether to pay the benefit. So are we making a recommendation to pay? Yes. We get to fight over who gets to announce this, so I'm the winner this year. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Sandra. She's a lot taller than I am. Okay. All right, next round of trivia questions. Candy, where are Candy people? Okay. All right. Did Prop B affect sworn city police officers? This is kind of a trick question. So, yes, those hired on or after July 1st, 2013 were placed in a new plan tier, but this has since been reversed. So whoever wants candy, just raise your hand. Okay. All right. According to the Fed, in 2022, what was the median retirement savings for individuals between 55 and 64? A, 100,000, B, 185,000, C, 290,000, or D, 500,000. Who says A? Okay. Who says B? Keep those hands raised for B. All right. It is 185,000. Okay. This is an odd one. How did early New Englanders believe they could protect their homes from witches and evil spirits? A, lining the perimeter with salt. B, wearing their clothes inside out. C, hanging garlic by the entrances. Or D, hiding their shoes in the wall. How many say A, lining the perimeter with salt? Okay. B, wearing their clothes inside out. Okay, got one. C, hanging garlic by the entrances. Oh, we got a lot of people for that one. D, hiding their shoes in the wall. Anyone? Oh, we got a couple. Keep your hand raised because that is the winner. Witches were believed to be attracted by the human scent of a shoe. And after they entered one, they found themselves trapped. So thank you, Jessica, for finding that very bizarre fact. Appreciate it. Okay. So, all right. Now we are on to important information from member services. I know this is a topic of hot interest right now, retiree health. I want to start off with a major shout out for Sandra Clausen, actually, and her team, and that's related to retiree health. We worked closely with the city's risk management to make this change happen. How many of you received a letter in the mail recently? Oh, good, and you opened it. Okay. So that is excellent. The City of San Diego selected Benefit Outsourcing Solutions, otherwise known as BOSS, as their new benefit administration partner. What does this mean for you and your family? Well, effective January 1st, 2025, BOSS will be the new vendor operating as the, wait for it, it is the City of San Diego Retiree Health Service Center. Try to say that 5 times. Yes, it is a mouthful, but basically we're going to shorten that to the City Retiree Health Center. All the healthcare services that you currently receive from SDCERS will continue after January 1, 2025, but with the new Retiree Health Center working to fulfill your healthcare requests instead of SDCERS. Earlier this week, the new Retiree Health Call Center went live along with their website. You'll be able to reach the new team via secure message or live chat by accessing the Retiree Health website. Again, all of this information is in the letters that you received. And for those of you that struggle with this, there's no more trying to convert everything into a PDF document to upload, so it's going to be a lot easier for everybody. And I also wanted to note that the Option C plan members are not affected. If you have Option C, then this change only affects you if you participate in a city retiree health plan. Your health reimbursement request will continue to go through your Option C trust administrator. So what stays the same? Your healthcare providers and plan options are going to remain the same. Open enrollment materials, including the 2025 rate changes, were mailed to you recently and will also be available online. Open enrollment will take place November 1st through November 30th. If you are not making changes to your current healthcare, dental, or vision plan, you do not have to take any action during open enrollment, and your coverage will remain the same. If you are changing from one sponsored plan to another sponsored plan, you will need to submit a disenrollment form for the current plan and an enrollment form for the new one. The new Retiree Health Center will assist you with this process. All forms must be submitted no later than 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on November 30th, 2024. All these changes will be effective for the plan year 2025, and that's effective January 1. Again, Care Council services will still be available to City of San Diego retirees and continuances at no cost. And lastly, Health allowances can still be applied towards sponsored and privately secured plans. Medicare Part B premiums can still be reimbursed. Deductions for premiums and credits for reimbursement will continue to be applied to your pension. What is changing? Well, one major change is you will be calling somebody other than SDCERS. We will not have access to your forms. The hours of the new Retiree Health Center will be 5 a.m. to 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Friday. You can call them toll-free or fax documents to them directly. You can make open enrollment elections online, via mail, or via fax. Again, the information on how to use the website are included in the open enrollment booklet. Please also check out the open enrollment booklet for information on Medicare Part A and premium reimbursements for instructions. The new health center will assist you with that process as well. I know that was a lot of information, but the annual health fair is going to be next week, Wednesday the 30th, right here in this room. And the new vendor will be here on site with the city's risk management staff as well to assist you with any questions you might have. And I do encourage you to attend if you have questions. Before I talk about the very serious topic of security, I do have another joke for you. What is a ghost's favorite dessert? Come on, think about that. A ghost. What is their favorite dessert? Ice cream. Who said that? Excellent. All right. He gets to pick whatever he wants. Just give him the bag. Okay. So this next topic sometimes can make people want to scream, and that is security and technology. Right over here. All right. So we will always touch on security, not just security of your funds, but about access to your funds. I don't know about you, but every day I see how hackers are trying yet another way to get you to give them your information. I'm constantly sending my kids texts and information, calling my parents, and like everybody, like there's a new way that they're trying to trick you. So AI is a great thing, but there are some scary things like the deep fakes, someone calling you, pretending to be your grandchild who's in trouble and needs money right away. And that voice is actually your grandchild's voice replicated. If in doubt, any communication that you get relating to your pension, call us and we will verify if it's actually us trying to get to you. SDCERS is constantly auditing our systems. We use Entrust, a security solution deployed in more than 5,000 organizations in 85 countries, including Interpol, the U.S. Department of State, NASA, the UK Ministry of Defense, and American Airlines. We have weekly penetration scans by an external vendor of our member portal weekly because cybercrime is a very real and daily threat. SDCERS uses extremely secure technology and constant monitoring of our systems. We've thwarted thousands of cyber hacking attempts. You all might recall the CrowdStrike that occurred July 19th of this year. We were able to deal with that threat in hours with minimal downtime. That incident affected 8.5 million systems throughout the world, and it was the largest outage in the history of IT. How many of you were affected by that? Just a couple. That's good, because it was not a fun day. Well, thanks to our incredible IT cybersecurity team, we were functional very quickly. So if you call our office, we will ask you several questions to confirm your identity before we provide you with any information. It might seem annoying, but it is really to keep your funds safe. Greg talked about our fiduciary responsibility and trust. We take care of your money. In return, we ask that you communicate with us when it comes to your account. SDCERS is required to tell you certain information. We purposely send you letters for security purposes when changes are made on the portal and to your account. We need you to read this information. And of course, if you move or change any phone numbers, we need to know your current address and how to contact you. We highly encourage you to register and utilize our secure online member portal because once you've registered, you can securely access your account anytime. If you update your address or a direct deposit's made, we will send you a letter. And don't forget to call before you come in to make sure somebody can assist you. I have really good news because we are fully staffed in our call center, and I am continually impressed with the dedication and commitment of our member services team because they are there to assist you. Let's take a look at our public website now. We're in the process of reviewing our design, and we want to make things even easier and more accessible for you. We're also looking at how we present our content to you in order to continue improving it for members, so stay tuned for that. Everything you want to know can be found here, and if you are trying to plan for your future, you can check out the Resources tab. Here you'll find a summary of all the plan tiers. Just search by your plan sponsor and hire date and review the frequently asked questions. There are fact sheets on almost every topic you can think of. What else can you do on the portal? Well, once you're in your member portal, you can view a lot of information. You can make changes to your account, such as updating your beneficiary designations or adjusting tax withholding preferences. This will vary if you are retired or if you're actively working, so you'll see different things. For those of you who are not yet retired, I know we have some active members, you can use the member portal estimate calculator to estimate future retirement benefits under any scenario you can think of. So definitely check that out. You can do as many calculations as your heart desires. For our members who are already retired, the member portal is where you access your monthly pension payment details. There's also tax reporting information, so we strive to have your 1099s processed as quickly as possible each year, and we also provide these tax forms on the portal for your convenience. Planning for the remainder of your life is part of retirement. We encourage you to inform your family of the beneficiary details related to your pension, and this is easily accessible on the beneficiary administration information page. Sandra told you earlier that the annual supplemental benefit will be recommended to be paid this year to those who are eligible, which is great news. On your member portal, you can see the history of your annual supplemental benefit if it's applicable to you. So that concludes my portion of the member services section. And on to more questions. Our Candy folks are standing by. Which of the following is true? A, starting in 2025, city retiree health reimbursement requests will go through a new administrator. True? True. B, SDCERS is not administering city retiree health open enrollment this year. True or false? True or false? Yeah? Anyone? Okay. True. Who said true? Okay. C, starting in January 2025, Medicare Part A premiums will be retroactively reimbursable through January 1st, 2024. True? D, all of the above. Okay. D, raise your hand if you guess D, or just want some candy. Okay. All right. Of all the babies born in the U.S. in 2007, 50% are now predicted to live until what age? A, 79, B, 88, C, 95, or D, 104? How many of you say 79? Okay, got a couple. How about 88? Quite a few. 95? Okay. 104. Nobody? Well, it's 104. And because my youngest was born in 2007, you all get to see her very cute picture up on the screen. Okay. All right. Yeah, 104. That was kind of a shocker. Yeah. All right. What do you do if you receive a letter in the mail for SDCERS? Read it. Open it. Just open it. That's all we ask. Just open it. All right. Well, thank you all for coming today. Our team is available to assist you, and you can call us, you can use the website, you can check on the portal, however which way you want to communicate with us. We are here to assist. We're going to remain on stage after the program if you want to come up and ask us any questions. But before we conclude, does anybody want one more joke? Anyone? Okay. Why don't mummies take time off? Mummies. Why don't mummies take time off? They are afraid to unwind. I give him a... And with that note, our meeting is concluded. Thank you all for attending. Have a great weekend and happy Halloween.